The lecture is on patents, definition types, patentability criteria, Indian patent system, and significance of patent. The lecture is intended for BSc Microbial and Food Technology final year and presented by Dr. Sandeep Kaur, Department of Food Science, Meherchand Mahajan, DAV College for Women, Chandigarh. The objectives of present lecture include to introduce the concept of patents and its importance as an essential IPR, to apprise the students of the following different types of patents, what is patentable invention and what falls under non-patentable invention, what are the three important criteria of patentability, to apprise the students of the Indian Patent Office structure. Patent is an exclusive right granted for an invention. The invention can be a product or a process that provides a new way of doing something or that offers a new technical solution to a long-standing problem. Now remember, the patents are exclusive rights which are granted for an invention for a set period of time, and this period of time is generally 20 years from date of filing the application. Now when you talk about this period of protection, it has always to be said 20 years from the date of filing the application. It's not from the date you have the patent office has granted you the patent actually, but it's from the date you filed the first application in the patent office. That is called the priority date as well. Other definitions include a patent is a set of exclusive rights granted by a sovereign state to an inventor or assignee for a limited period of time in exchange for detailed public disclosure of his or her invention. An invention can be a product patent, it can be a process patent, but he has to publicly disclose that invention in the form of a patent. And in exchange of this, the government issues him or her a set of exclusive rights. And these are called the rights of the patentee. The patent owner is also called the patentee. Now, government authority or license conferring a right or title for a set period of time, especially the solo right, excludes these rights include that he can exclude others from making, using, or selling his or her invention. Right? So, if you look at the rights of the owner, the patent owner has the right, once the patent has been granted to the patent owner, he or she has a right to exclude others from making the invention, using their invention for their own purpose. Somebody else is using their invention without their consent. That's totally wrong. Selling the invention, offering the invention for sale, or even exporting or importing the invention. This is totally not allowed. So, patent is a negative right actually, in which the patent owner has been given the right to exclude others from making, using, selling, offering, or importing their own invention in their name. Right? So, this is very important. Now, if you look at the picture, it says that one can get a patent in either a new product, as I told you, it can be a product patent, it can be altogether a new product, it can be useful way to do things, right? It can be a modification, and remember the modification should be a significant modification. Uh, so these are the different fields in which you can get a patent. Now let's look at the different types of the patents. See, there are three types of patents which are generally granted worldwide. One is a utility patent. The maximum number of patents, 85%, fall under this category. And this category includes all those inventions or discoveries related to any new or useful process, machine, article of manufacture, composition of matter, or any new and useful improvement or modification of doing the same old thing with a significant modification. Now, this category excludes most botanical creations related to plant and agricultural use, and in the utility patents are given for a uniform period of 20 years from the date of filing of the application. Design patents. Now, design patents in India, we do not grant design patents. Design patents are generally granted in the US. Design patents are granted for any new or original ornamental design As per the Indian patent system, if we want to protect our design, we need to go under the Design Act. All right, industrial design, which is a separate section of IPR. We do not grant patents for any ornamental design. We always grant patents for an invention which has some industrial utility. But in US, we do have this provision of giving design patents. So that falls in the second category of design patent. A design patent protects only the appearance of the article and not the article itself. And if the article has any utility, then you have to go for the utility patent, right? Maybe there is an article for which you want to protect the utility, usefulness part of the article as well as the design of the article. So in that category, you can file the utility patent. And if in India, you can go for the industrial design protection. And if in US, you can go for the design patent. A design patent has a duration of 14 years from the date of filing. And design patents are not subject to maintenance fees. Here I would like to say that all utility patents, if they have to be, you need to give some maintenance fees once you have been granted a patent. That is called the maintenance fee. So all utility patents have to be given the maintenance fee. But in design patents, no maintenance fees is required. Then is plant patents. And in botanical terms, any new variety of plant that has been asexually reproduced, any new variety which is asexually reproduced can fall under the category of plant patent. But remember, for qualifying as a plant patent, the invention must be novel. It should be distinct. It should be totally distinct and non-obvious. And a plant patent is given for a uniform term of 20 years from the date of filing. Moving next, very important are what are the three important criteria on the basis of which you judge whether an invention falls or satisfies patentability or not. See, as per even the Indian Patent Act 1970 and even the guidelines laid by WIPO, that is the World Intellectual Property Organization, the conditions to be satisfied by any invention to be patentable are three. Number one is novelty. Number two is inventiveness or non-obviousness. And number three is usefulness or some industrial application. Now let's first come to novelty. A novel invention is one which has not been disclosed in prior art, where prior art means evidence that has been published, presented, or otherwise disclosed to the public in any form before the date of filing of the patent application. So your invention is considered novel if the invention has never been disclosed in public forum, either in the form of a writing, either in the form of a public, say for example, invention is already disclosed in some magazine, in some journal, or in some Vedas, or as a part of traditional knowledge, right? So it has already been disclosed to the public. That is, it is in the prior art. So if it is in the prior art, or if it is already disclosed in front of the public, or disclosed to the public in the form of some book, novel, journal, writing, magazine, or article, before the date you are filing the patent application, sorry, you do not fit into the first category. Your invention is not novel. So novelty is very important criteria which needs to be fulfilled. The second important condition that needs to be satisfied is inventiveness, or we also call it as non-obviousness. Now, what do you mean by this? See, a patent application will always fulfill the criteria if it has an inventive step in it. And what do you mean by this inventive step? Inventive step is the step which involves a invention which is not obvious to a person skilled in your same field. So if that invention that you have or that inventive step is very obvious to a person who is skilled in your same field, then sorry, it is not an inventive step. Your invention should be totally a surprise or totally non-obvious to a person skilled in your field. For example, if the patent is in the field of microbiology, for example, or if you're talking about bacteriology, if a bacteriologist, the invention that you are claiming as inventive step in your patent is uh, very obvious to a normal bacteriologist skilled in your same field, then it doesn't, then it lacks inventiveness. That's what I want to say. For example, if in your invention you have replaced sodium chloride with potassium chloride, then, and if you talk to a chemist who is skilled in the same field, he will say that this is a very obvious exchange that can be done. You can exchange sodium chloride with potassium chloride in this protocol. It is so it that it is not an inventive step, because the change that you have shown as an invention is very obvious to a chemist person of the same field. So that is the condition that needs to be satisfied, that your patent application should have an invention or an inventive step which is totally a surprise or it's totally non-obvious to a person skilled in your same field. Now, there is a section 2 of Indian Patent Act 1970, which defines that patent means a new product or process involving an inventive step, and the inventive step should be non-obvious to the skilled person and capable of industrial application. When I say skilled person of your same field, that is very essential, because if I'm talking about exchanging sodium chloride with potassium chloride, I need to talk to a person who is chemist and not a botanist. So obviously, a person who is skilled in the same field, that is very essential. The third most important criteria that needs to be fulfilled is industrial application or usefulness. Now, any invention, whether it is a viable business option or whether it is scalable or not, or whether it is profitable or not, that is not any criteria. The invention, even if it is very costly, but it is having some significant utility or some significant industrial application, is fulfilling your third criteria, right? So an invention must possess some utility associated with it. It should have some industrial utility, some public utility, and any patent which is devoid of utility, it will not be patentable. For example, if I'm an inventor and I'm inventing some isolated DNA fragments, but I'm not able to demonstrate what is the use of that isolated DNA fragments, then I will not be able to qualify for the third criteria, and my invention will not be patentable. Can be a small use. I'll just give you an example. There was a patent, US patent 7051371, for the sun mask towel, as you can see in the figure. Now, this 2006 patent adds a new device. It was given that it is a new device for the sun defense regime. It was called the sun mask towel. What is it? If you look, it was a standard size towel which had these one eye slit, two slits for our two eyes, allowing unobstructed vision through this towel, and at least one breathing slit was there for the nose and the mouth, so that the breathing is not hampered. And they called this as a sun mask towel. So it was equally spaced for two eyes, one nose, and one mouth, slit for one mouth. If you look at this, the invention is not at all very complicated. It's a very simple invention, but it has a utility associated to it. And what's the utility? That it will allow unobstructed vision, and it will act as a sun defense regime, and it is a sun mask towel. So we have brought out with a new masking towels are available, which can fit. So it is a very simple invention, but because it has some utility, it was given a US patent. So this is just to explain that for patentability, your invention should be novel, that it should not be in the prior art, it should not be part of the prior art. Second is, it should be non-obvious to a skilled person of your same field. That is, it should have an inventive step. And third is, it should be useful. It should have some public utility. Now let's move to categories which are patentable and which categories are non-patentable. Now, as per the Indian Patent Act 1970, these three categories, which the inventions falling under these three categories, are given patent. Any art, process, method, or manner of manufacture. Any art, process, method, or manner of manufacture which fulfills those three criteria. And what was those three criteria? Novelty, non-obviousness, and utility. Second is machine, apparatus, or other articles. Substances produced by include any new and useful improvements of any of them, and an alleged invention. Inventions claiming substance intended for use or capable of being used as food or as medicine or drug, or relating to substances prepared or produced by chemical processes, that is, including alloys, optical glass, semiconductors, and intermetallic compounds, are not patentable. So remember, these are not patentable. What cannot be patented? Now let's have a longer look at what are the non-patentable inventions. Now, as per the Section 3 of Indian Patent Act 1970, these are the following categories of inventions which you should know which do not fall under the patenting category. An invention which is frivolous or which claims anything obviously contrary to well established natural laws. You cannot go for any patent which is against nature. An invention, the primary or intended use or commercial exploitation of which could be contrary to public order or morality, or which may cause serious prejudice to human, animal, or plant life or health or to the environment. For example, process of making brown sugar will never ever be patented because it's a drug. The mere discovery of a scientific principle or the formulation of an abstract theory, that is, discovery of any living thing or non living thing which is already occurring in nature. Sorry, it is already occurring in nature. You cannot simply pluck a flower which is already available in nature, and even if you have plucked that flower from a very remote area and say that this is my new discovery. No. So, anything living or non living which is available in nature is non patentable. The mere discovery of a new form of a known substance, which does not result in the enhancement of the known efficacy of that substance, or the mere discovery of any new property or new use for a known substance, or the mere use of a known process, machine, or apparatus, unless such known process results in any significant advancement, these are non-patentable. This means that if I'm just discovering already known substance, a new form of an already known substance, or a new use of an already known substance, and that new use or new form does not have any significant enhancement in the efficacy of that substance, then that is not patentable. So if I have a drug which is used for diabetes, then I have just modified that drug and the salt and said that this is the new form of the same drug, which again treats diabetes. So that is not patentable. That modification should add significantly or improve, should be improvement over the already known efficacy of the drug. In that case, it can be considered under patentability. Next is a substance obtained by a mere admixture resulting only in the aggregation of the properties or of the components thereof, or a process of reducing such substance. The mere rearrangement and arrangement or duplication of known devices independently in one or the other way and then just rearranging them, that is also not patentable. A method of agriculture or horticulture, for example, a method of terrace farming, cannot be patented. Any process for the medicinal, surgical, curative, prophylactic, diagnostic, therapeutic, or other treatment of human beings, or any process for a similar treatment of animals to render them free of pain or free of disease, or to increase economic value or that of their products, that is not patentable. So this has to be really, kept in mind that any method of medicine, surgery, to doing surgery, curation, diagnostic, therapeutic, to treat any animal or human beings and to render them disease free, that is not patentable. For example, I cannot get a patent on any new technique of hand surgery, right? So that is not patentable. Plants and animals in whole or any part thereof, other than microorganisms, but including seeds, varieties, and species, and essentially biological processes for production or natural propagation of plants and animals are not patentable. A mathematical or business method or computer program per se or algorithms, a literary, dramatic, musical, or artistic work, or any other aesthetic creation whatsoever includes cinematographic work and television productions, they are not patented. They have another rights, which we call copyright. A mere scheme or rule or method of performing mental act or method of playing a game, an invention which in effect is traditional knowledge or which is an aggregation or duplication of known properties of traditional components, that is also not patent. So if you say that I want to get a patent on neem, antibacterial efficacy of neem. So, neem, sorry, this is a part of traditional knowledge. People from centuries know that neem has antibacterial and antioxidant properties. Inventions related to atomic energy and inventions prejudicial to the interest of security of India or a nation as such are totally not patented. Next, let's have an overview of the patent system in India. The patent system in India is governed by the Indian Patents Act 1970. So initially, the Indian Patent Act came into force in the year 1970, and then there were major three amendments which were done. Finally, first amendment was in 1999, then it was in 2001, and then it was in 2005. The patent system in India is governed by the Indian Patents Act 1970, which was amended by the Patents Amendment Act, Final Amendment Act in 2005, and with effect from 1st January 2005. So finally, it was lastly amended and is totally amended by the Patents Amendment Act 2005. And the biggest amendment or change in the Indian Patent Act was that uh, product patents as process patents as well as product patents both were uh, uh, you know added. Product patents were added that we can get you can apply for a product patent as well for food, medicine, drugs, pharmaceutical, and definition of inventor step was added. So there were certain important amendments which were done. And the Patent Rules 2003 is now amended by the Patent Amendment Rule 2006, which is effective from 5 uh, 5th May 2006. So in this way, the patent system is actually governed by the Indian Patents Act 1970, amended by the Patent Amendments Act 2005, and the Patents Rule 2003, which is now amended by the Patents Amendment Rule 2006. If we look at the patent system in India, it is administered under the superintendence of the Controller General of Patents, Designs, Trademarks, and Geographical Indication. This is the biggest office which deals with all categories of IPR. Controller General of Patents, Design, Trademarks, and Geographical Indications located in Mumbai. The Office of the Controller General functions under the Department of Industrial Policy and Promotion, Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Government of India. So all the Controller General functions are reported and they come under the Department of Industrial Policy and Promotion, Ministry of Commerce and Industry. If you look at the patent offices, there are four patent offices in India. The head office or the head patent office is located at Kolkata, and other patent offices are located in Delhi, Mumbai, and Chennai. The Controller General, he delegates his power to the senior joint controller, joint controllers, deputy controllers, and assistant controllers. Examiners of patent in each office discharge their duties according to the direction of the controller. In addition to the patent offices, we also have a patent information system, PIS, at Nagpur. This has been functioning as a patent information base for the user. And at the PIS, the Patent Information System, it is a worldwide, it provides worldwide patent-related literature. It has collection of patent specifications and provides technological information related to patents through its different services. So that's a very important center at Nagpur. Now, if you look at the importance of patents or intellectual property, we're actually, protected from morning to night by these patents, copyrights, and different categories of IPR. If you look at the patents, it started. You cannot, uh, ignore them. They are part of your everyday life, starting from the bulb electric lighting that's the patent held by Edison and Swan to the patents held for plastic by Bakelin to ballpoint pens to microprocessors. So you just cannot deny the fact that patents have revolutionized innovation and technology, and they are the main drivers of innovation and the new products, which are actually increasing, which have increased the quality of life for a common man. They have actually changed our world. For example, bionic eye, the patent for bionic eye, that is the retinal prosthesis and the method of manufacturing a retinal prosthesis. Let's look at the patent for the solar panel, which are used immensely for generation of solar energy. Nanoscale, this is today's age of nanotechnology, and thanks to the nanoscale graphene plates, the patent for that. Similarly, we have the patent for Bluetooth, uh, peer-to-peer information exchange for mobile communication devices. The Bluetooth came into being in 2013 and has revolutionized everything. Then we have the 3G, and now we have 4G, 5G. What to talk about? Third generation wireless mobile, now the fourth generation and the fifth generation. All this is thanks to the patents held by different companies associated with information technology and telecommunication. Uh, as far as the life science students are concerned, the talk of the town is CRISPR-Cas system, which is these are the systems of genetic tailoring, and this is also result of patent discovery and innovation, right? So why do we need patents? Well, patents and first of all provide incentives to and protection for individuals. Now they not just protect your invention, but they also provide you incentive. Once you have the patent in hand, you can license it, you can work upon it, and you can reap benefits out of that. So patents provide incentives, monetary incentives, and other incentives, and protect your invention. And the protection is through law. Offers Patents also offer the inventors or the patentees the recognition for their creativity and the possibility of material reward. And this recognition of the creativity actually boosts the scientific community to come up with newer ideas, newer innovations, and file more patents. Then yes, once your patent is has been granted for a particular invention, it is open to the public domain. It cannot be copied, obviously. The same invention again cannot be copied and patented. So patents actually avoid the reinvention of the wheel, and they actually stimulate you to use that invention and move further to modify or significantly maybe improve on the invention further rather than reinventing the same wheel again and again. Public disclosure of the technical knowledge to fellow researchers, to the fellow community. So it is patents are actually a storehouse of knowledge. They act as a reservoir of important technical and theoretical knowledge, uh, which can be definitely worked upon at the experimental basis, although it cannot be copied, used, or sold. But you can work on the same technical knowledge, and you can improve on that knowledge, significantly modify the protocols, and bring up something better with a significant modification or a significant improvement. So it is a storehouse or a hub of technical knowledge for the fellow community researchers and community workers working in the same field. Then patents search for also help in search for alternative solutions and to invent around the first invention. As I told you that they encourage further innovation. So rather than reinventing the same wheel, we move and look forward whether we can modify and significantly improve upon the wheel or we can have a substitute for that. So it encourages further innovation. And definitely patents, as I told you, they are the drivers of innovation and they are drivers of technology and science. And because of the patents, as gave some examples, the human life has been made more easy, and the quality of human life and the quality and well-being of society has been continuously is being continuously enhanced and has already enhanced, and it will continue to do so. So patents are definitely drivers of economic growth. They are drivers of innovation, and they are the drivers of increasing and enhancing the quality of human life. Hope so. The present lecture has added to the existing knowledge related to patents as an essential intellectual property right, and the references are these are the references. Thank you.